Let's talk mawwage. Just kidding. I'm gonna make it a challenge where if I have to say the word marriage in this video, I'm gonna say mawwage instead, because mawwage is a much cooler word than marriage. Princess Diaries reference. No. The Princess Bride reference. Hope you get that. I've been seeing a lot of this trend on Twitter where it's how it started versus how it's ending, and us singles are supposed to feel bad that we didn't respond to that creeper's DM. I actually had someone slide into my DMs, and well, it wasn't my DMs, he got my number and he contacted me through WhatsApp. And he starts off this message like, "Oh my god, Assalamu alaikum, are you Eritrean and Yemeni?" And I'm like, "How did you get my number?" And then he told me how, and I just blocked him. Blocka, block. Blocka, blocka, block. Blocka, blocka, blocka. Where am I going with this? Ew. But that's not why you clicked on this video. You clicked on this video because you want to learn how to be an independent black woman. Yes, non-black people, you know you want to channel it too. So here's my story. I refuse to believe that in order for someone to like me, I had to fix up my appearance. I am so sick and tired of hearing things like, "Are you wearing makeup to impress a man?" No, I'm wearing makeup because I want to impress myself. If I like someone, I'm not gonna wear their favorite color as an eyeshadow color to impress them. Like, that's ridiculous. So this was a pretty healthy mindset. I honestly don't know where I got this from. Growing up, I've had crushes on people that didn't like me back, and I've had some stupid boys like me, but I was like, go home, Roger. I've had more celebrity crushes in my entire life than I've ever liked the boys at my school. Trust me, they were not even cute. I've set boundaries for these kinds of things for a very long time. All my life I had to be cautious of the friendships I have with guys. I am not against having any guy friends unless they don't respect my boundaries. I really don't care what gender you are, like male, female, non-binary, two-spirit, whatever. It is that simple. If you don't respect my boundaries, then we can't be friends. I've always been afraid of being labeled someone's girlfriend because non-Muslims, well, so non-Muslims who are watching this, for context, Muslims don't date. We only marry. Honestly, I don't understand how it works in Islam. It's funny because like my non-Muslim friends, they'll ask, so if you can't date, then how do you get married? I mean, I guess it's one of those things where if you know, you know. Every story is different. In Islam, Muslims can't date because, well, for the most perfectly logical reason. Why? So we don't get hurt. It's the same reason why we don't consume pork or alcohol, because they're unhealthy. So going to my college years, when I turned 18, like I had this belief where I was like, now that I'm a woman, it's time to think about what I look for in a man. It's a very coming of age thought to have, and I guess that's perfectly normal. But the reality was, ultimately, I went to college to get a degree, not a man. And I'm not sad in the slightest bit, even now. I did have a handful of college friends who were pursuing relationships. Some were Muslim, some were not, but that's none of my business. I had friends who couldn't get over their exes, and others who were concerned on whether or not they were making the right moves. At first, I judged them, but then I realized that when you're in college, you're in these spaces where you can meet people like you and you might find your love story there. So I was wrong for judging them in the first place. For me, I didn't have this fantasy going into college that like I was gonna find my soulmate. Honestly, like going into college, like what even was a fantasy? But yeah, that's my story, and it feels a little sad. It's not much, but yeah, that's my story, and sorry to disappoint you. Like that is like, it's a very short story. I feel like me being as a Black Muslim woman, it introduces this new perspective on what it's like to get into adulthood and think about marriage from a woman's perspective. The double standards are absolutely there. When it comes to independent single people at their age, in this example, let's say you're in your 30s, right? So if you're a man who's in his 30s, right? Like people will be like, oh my god, is he rich? But when the woman is in her 30s or so and she's single, it's like, ew, she must be a cat lady. Like, what's wrong with having cats? Another way of looking at it is with aging in general. When women get old, as young as like in their 20s, like they should be on some anti-aging skincare regimen. Meanwhile, men, like they can get silver hair and they'll silver fox, for a lack of a better term, and somehow that's hot. Anyone seen Indian Matchmaking? I unfortunately saw Indian Matchmaking. My brown friends bullied me into that show. Don't make the mistake of watching Indian Matchmaking like I did. I did a poll on Instagram to see if I should watch it, and I should have listened to like, what was it, like the 2% that said it's gonna stress you out, because honey, it did stress me out. Do not make the mistake of watching Indian Matchmaking because 1, I am not brown, I'm black, and 2, it was really triggering to watch the colorism and on top of like the many other isms and the double standards that the matchmaker had for, an example that comes to mind is Pradyuman and Aparna. Pradyuman is this rich man who's rejected many rishtas and gets a pat on the back. Meanwhile, Aparna is a lawyer who's picky, but she's the bad guy because she has high expectations. As if Pradyuman doesn't have high expectations too. Oh, this show really got to me. I hope y'all are happy. I remember when my uncle got married. This was the first time in a while that like my extended family came together. My other uncle, he came to this wedding, and my sister was joking with him. For context, this uncle that I'm talking about, not the one who got married, but the one who I'm talking about in this story. He has a son who's my age. My cousin is my age, and my sister was joking with him. She's like, ha, 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 your son is next. And then this uncle, he's like, no, Ahlam is next. I just wanted to go into a hole and hide. And just like wedding season for me is like really overwhelming, because like aunties, they'll just be all up on you and they'll just be like, oh, inshallah, habibti, this is gonna be your wedding too. Like, dude, I'm not even finished with college yet. Come on. Well, I'm done with college now, but that's not the point. Let me ask you this, like, do you ask the brothers that too, or am I just being attacked because I'm a woman? I don't even want a wedding. Like, they're just so chaotic. Another thing about double standards is if you're single, you tend to be overlooked. But if you're married, like, it's like, oh my god, teach me your ways. And I've noticed this a lot with the sisters especially. What I want to know is, why are we so obsessed with it? On top of the double standards, there's also internalized sexism. In my culture, it feels like no matter how accomplished I am, it doesn't matter unless I'm married with kids, right? I know when like this pandemic dies down and I see my extended family for the first time, I'll get an, inshallah, you'll get married, Ahlam, no. When I was taking notes for this video, I watched Nafisa Pearlz for some inspiration, and she explains it in depth a lot better than I ever will, so I'll link her videos down below. Let me take a real deep dive into how this affects me as a Black Muslim woman. I read the study where Black women, and Asian men too, welcome to the club, we are least likely to get swipe right on Tinder. To quote Miss Issa Rae, if dating were an assortment of Halloween candy, Black women and Asian men would be Tootsie Rolls and candy corn, the last to be eaten, even if at all. I'm thinking of trying those Muslim marriage apps as an experiment to see if that case would actually be true. Now, when it comes to marriage in the Muslim communities, non-Black Muslim families are hesitant to let their children marry Black Muslims for just inexcusable, despicable reasons that I'm not gonna get into. Most American Muslim communities that I know are Arab or Southeast Asian descent. By Southeast, I mean like Desi, like Pakistani, Indian, Bengali, which doesn't make up for the majority of Muslims in America who are Black. Don't quote me on this, but they tend to gravitate towards someone who is of their own kind, or lighter, or white. Meanwhile, Black Muslims, I don't know if this is true for all Black Muslims though, but from what I read from this article from Al Jazeera, Black Muslims in America are open to any race. So what does this have to do with me? Well, honestly, I don't care what your background is as long as you're not racist, but I would rather be single than be your black wife. If you get with a black Muslim woman, you do not get a pass on most things that you typically don't get a pass on, okay? Just because you get with a black Muslim woman does not mean you're not racist. If you do get with a black Muslim woman to prove that you're not racist, well, congratulations, you're racist. Another thing, this is gonna be really controversial. Another thing is that being a Muslim woman taught me to hate Muslim. The only Muslim man I trust is my own uncle. A lot of the Muslim men I have met are actually really full of it, and they do not know how to talk to girls at all. It's so funny because like non-Muslim men are actually a lot nicer to me. I don't know what is up with that. More specifically, gay men, unproblematic gay men, of course. But like, they are so sweet. They are much nicer to me than you bozos will ever be, okay? And you think you're better than them because you're straight. You need to sit down. Another thing I'm gonna add is, I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but I said I didn't want a wedding. Honestly, there's no point in planning it. I feel like a lot goes into it. In fact, Islam teaches us to keep weddings to a minimum. So for me, I'll just like sign the nikah and peace. So reflecting on where I am now, present day Ahlam in 2020. I'm 23 years old, I am single, I have never been in a relationship, and honestly, where do I see myself in 5 to 10 years? I don't know why, but marriage isn't in the picture. I don't know why, but I envision myself as this rich black auntie who comes to the cookout and like gives the kids candy. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, marriage is not in the picture for some reason. Of course, I do have expectations on like what I look for in a husband, but like for right now, I'm fine, honestly. What I don't understand is like, in our culture, maybe this can apply to society too, but what I don't understand is, why is it that like when a woman decides that she is perfectly fine not getting married, she wants to work on her career, she wants to figure herself out, she wants to do some soul searching, just like, why is it that like when women decide that they want to work on themselves, that like they're just wasting their life and they're not doing it right? Like, I don't understand like where this stigma comes from, but it's misogynistic. Yeah, if you were to ask me like, what do I look for in a husband? Yeah, my list is way too high. Like, if I told you like what my expectations are, you're gonna be like, ugh, she's so picky. But the thing is, like, the way I see marriage, right? I don't want to get married only for it to end in divorce, right? That's the scary thing about it. About to go pretty morbid up in here, but I mean, it needs to be said, says the girl who just laughed at that. Now I'm doing it again, oh my god. But yeah, my list is pretty high, and I don't want to fail at this. And another thing is like, if you don't get married, like, I don't know where this narrative comes from that like, you're gonna die alone. I always laughed at the phrase dying alone, because if you have friends and family and you have like your own isolated way of dying, like, did you really die alone? Of course, like, we're gonna die someday, and like, I don't see a problem with like dying alone if you have friends and family, of course. So yeah, I mean, if I don't get married, yeah, go ahead, tell me that I'm gonna die alone. But hey, if I die, then I'm gonna get all the attention at my funeral anyways. I don't know why I just winked. Well, what about kids? That's a whole different story that I'm not gonna get into. But what if you change your mind? If Allah says that I'm gonna get married, then, well, there's really no fighting it. So now I'm actually gonna read some of the Instagram messages that y'all have sent me. By the way, I'm gonna make these all anonymous because I wanna respect y'all. Yeah, maybe we can have a whole conversation around that too. Like, thank you guys for responding, by the way. Like, I got essays from you guys. Bro, I don't know where to start. So I was texting one of my closest friends, and she told me that one of my friends only wants to get married for intimacy. I see that, actually, because when you're Muslim, right, you have to abstain from sex until after marriage, if that makes sense. Did I word that right? I don't know. If we go into marriage thinking like we're gonna do this for the intimacy, like, honestly, I don't know how to answer that. Like, if that's what you think going into marriage is into, like, do you actually want a marriage, or are you just horny? This video is gonna go like way out of line. So from Instagram, I got the sheer misogyny. Why can't we have more nicer guys? Who are single, by the way. That irony is actually very true. How is it that like single men are like, okay, they either act really nice, but like deep down they're actually like terrible people. Why is it that like the nice guys are the ones who are taken? By nice guys, I mean like those that like don't guilt women into getting with them because they're nice. Yeah, how is it that like they're married? Meanwhile, we're stuck with these, I'm trying to think of a really nice thing to say for besides terrible men. All these bleeps, basically. The misogyny is very real, and it is not up to us to change a man so that like he is perfectly okay with getting married. Like it starts with him. Like get your act together, okay? Another one I got is I'm not obsessed with being single. I have me, myself, and I'm in a throuple, basically. Plus these relationships that are happening now are up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, when he knows it's the right time in our lives, or if he knows that we would do better on our own. We just have to wait and see. Winky face. I don't need a man to feel full. That's a nice mindset to have. Another one is from Twitter. Struggles of not getting married. Constant disappointment. Finding someone just as committed as you. Another is I started taking care of myself and figuring out what I wanted to do in life. And another reason is because marriage was seen as this huge milestone we should all aspire to accomplish. And we idealize romantic love to the point where we tend to neglect other relationships. Yeah. Another is a long one I got from Twitter, but I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet. My biggest struggle is usually when people find out that I have a math learning disability. That, and also trying to find someone who prays 5 times a day, does all the requirements or even attempts to do them, is independent, can do their own laundry, etc., holds a bachelor's degree or higher. Shockingly, that is extremely hard to find. Part 2 of that is I learned to love being single by realizing that if I wasn't, I would constantly have to check with the other person about what they think and their feelings on my career/lifestyle. So yeah, a lot goes into that. Another is from Instagram. I don't think much about this topic, but I'd say finding self-love is important. Yeah, of course, right? You gotta fulfill yourself first. You got your own needs to take care of. This one is a 4-parter, so I'm gonna do my best. I honestly don't even think about it anymore. I feel like the pressure comes from this instance that there's someone out there who will complete you instead of just someone else that you love. There's also too much of an importance placed on romantic love, and so much instance that without a partner you will be forever alone, which is a straight up lie. Yep, it is a straight up lie. Yeah, and another thing I forgot to mention throughout this video is like, you watch movies and TV shows and you read books, you accumulate like all these stories about love, and you're just like, oh, someday it's gonna happen to me. I mean, I don't want to say that's a problem. Honestly, I'm guilty of it too. Why isn't there like more self-love stories though? Another one I got is the reason why I want to be single is so I can do what I want without the tether to another person. I can make plans based off of me, myself, and I can focus on my mental health and personal growth solely. I don't have to explain my actions to anyone. I can talk to anyone without worry of some consequence while in a relationship. I'm thinking like talking to other guys and there'd be drama. Why I don't want to be single is because I want to have someone to bond with at that level. I'd love to have a partner in crime, right? I mean, partners in crime, like when you put it that way, is pretty dope. We can ditch things together, make boring tasks fun, enjoy each other's company while doing simple things. I'm a born romantic who really wants to find someone. I can't help that, lol. I know, girl, me too. Also, I've been socially conditioned to think that I won't be free from family stuff in general, to do random things, travel, etc. If I'm not married, yeah, this one's a total lie that I'm working on unlearning. That's good, yeah. You do you, girl. With that said, my parents are 100% supportive of my single/dating life, so I've never felt pressure on their end, but as the oldest child, I just feel like I am a housewife already minus the partner, and I don't know if that's a good thing, but it's just one of those things. Yeah, I mean, I'm grateful, alhamdulillah, like no one is pressuring me to get married. Like my close family, okay, except my sister who's 13. I graduated college a couple months ago, and from here on out, it's just, okay, what am I doing with my life, right? Let me like find a career or something. Unfortunately, some of you might not have positive surrounding of people where like they constantly ridicule you of not getting married. I am not an expert on that. I don't know what to tell you. It is not your parents' place or anyone's place really to tell you what you should be doing with your life. If they can't understand why you don't want to get married, that is their problem. Here's another one. I love being single because I love the fact that I can be with myself. I can enjoy things on my own. I also feel like I still have lots to do and lots to grow before I even enter a relationship again. Also, being alone, I have learned not to rely on others for my emotional being. I deal with it on my own, of course, with the help of my mom and my close friends. Frankly, I enjoy my company. I enjoy sitting at a coffee shop on my own, having a drink on my own. I feel a relationship is a whole lot of work, that there are so many things I need to do and experience for. I can tell myself. I feel a relationship is a whole lot of work, that there are so many things I need to do and experience for. I can tell myself, yes, I did that while not being with anyone and on my own. It's this independence of my own that I control. I've been watching a lot of Kelly Stamps lately, and I've just been thinking, like, wow, I want to be that independent. Like, I want to go out and eat tiramisu whenever I want. Okay, I don't eat a lot of tiramisu. Okay, that's not the point. Hold on, backtrack. But Kelly Stamps is like, so for those who don't know, Kelly Stamps is like one of my favorite YouTubers right now. She just moved to Boston, so she's in my home state. Hey girl. She loves being alone. She loves her independence, right? She can go out and eat her tiramisu whenever she wants, okay? She can dress up and do all these K-pop dances when she wants to. She just enjoys being alone, right? Because when you feel alone, like, you're basically the star of your own movie. That is exactly what I get from watching Kelly Stamps. And to answer the second half of that, I don't want to be single because, to be honest, right now I love the single life, but if I'm not going to deny that, I know at some point I would want a partner to have coffee with, or someone to invite me somewhere and I dress up, lol. I also can't help that I'm a hopeless romantic. However, I feel this is something that is going to happen when I'm ready and someone who knows my worth right away. Until then, I am enjoying the single life. Good job. Here's another one. I love being single because I just feel so badass. I love being independent and not having to worry about another person. Also, it's fun to go into the club and dance on whomever you want. I also am a big family woman, and being on my own allows me to prioritize them without a second thought. I've also seen my friends go through terrible relationships and be completely scarred. And why I don't want to be single is it's nice to have someone around and just feel safe and loved. I'm a hopeless romantic, and I just love rom-coms. Even though it can seem unrealistic, I just want to have my Notting Hill or the holiday moment and be swept off my feet with a bouquet of flowers. Whoops. I definitely feel like we're obsessed with having a partner, especially as a woman. It can be hard to feel like your own body and feel fulfilled without someone validating you all the time. As women, we are constantly fed a narrative that tells us we are weaker on our own. In my personal life, I am the youngest and only girl with 3 older brothers. I'm often treated like I'm stupid, and I am constantly asked if I have a boyfriend. No one asks my brothers if they're dating. What the is up with that? Girl, I'm perfectly fine on my own. Awesome mentality to have. Another one is from a friend of mine from Instagram. So I was in 2 different relationships straight throughout college, almost the entire time I was in college. I was honestly miserable in both. I didn't feel like myself. When I broke up with my recent ex, I felt super upset at first, but since then I felt great. Better than ever. But of course, as it goes in quarantine, I've been feeling more restless and lonely, that now is not the time I can make any progress on the whole finding a relationship thing, despite knowing I have been much happier single. I think the media depicts a relationship as something everyone wants and should have, and also is actively viewed more as a fairy tale than it actually is. We see it as something that's above friendships and family and such, but I don't think that's true. I think we're just conditioned to think relationships are more than what they actually are. Wow. That's another thing to consider, right? We're in the middle of a pandemic, right? And it's not realistic to find a perfect relationship. If you're already in a relationship, then you could be lucky, but if not, then you don't really have options now, do you? What can you do? But yeah, I mean, as mentioned, like, the media perpetuates this notion that, like, being with someone else is great, but, like, there are some ups and downs in a lot of relationships too. And, you know, most of us are afraid of, we're afraid to get hurt, so. Another thing I want to read that my best friend sent me was, a plus to being single is you get to choose what you like to do and you don't have to worry about a man getting in the way. Yep, pretty simple. A negative of that is you hit 21 and your friends are in relationships post-grad and you start to feel lonely. Yep. And now for some very unsolicited advice because nobody asked, but I'm gonna do this anyways. Let's go! By the way, if you need to take a water break, now would be the time to do that. So Ahlam, how are you happily single? As mentioned before, enjoy time alone. Go to your favorite coffee shop, go get tacos, go get boba, go see a movie by yourself. Okay, no, we can't do it in this pandemic. There are many ways like you can spend some alone time, especially during this pandemic. If you're not comfortable going out, you can just like watch something on Netflix. Girlfriends is on Netflix, you can watch that. Another piece of advice I would say is to surround yourself with friends, your single friends, of course. If you have married friends, that's cool too. I mean, I have married friends. Luckily, like they don't make it mostly about their husbands, you know, they don't do that, and I'm very lucky that I have friends like them. We've actually had some really engaging conversations, hence why we are still friends. I even have some single friends of different age ranges. I have friends from my background who are in their 30s and they're not married and they're killing it. Another thing you might not even think of is to maybe fix up your social media algorithm. If you follow a particular influencer and like you're jealous of them and like you want their lifestyle and like they're in the perfect relationship too, like it's okay to hit unfollow. They're not gonna notice. And I try to incorporate more of my feed with like celebrity Black women and influencers who are single. I mean, Tracy Ellis Ross, for example, like she's like the only single Black celebrity I can think of right now. She's living her best life. Another is to fix your mindset on what it means to be single. Yes, you can be a cat lady or cat boy, cat human, whatever, if you like. If you start seeing being single as a good thing instead of rather a bad thing, that you're not in a relationship, you start to have a little bit more clarity and you start owning your independence more and more. Another thing is to come up with some really clever comebacks. So the next time your auntie asks, so when are you gonna get married? Just be like, when are you gonna read the room? I don't know, that's probably a terrible example, but we'll roll with it. Another important thing to consider is to set boundaries. So like I mentioned before, my 13-year-old sister, she is always like, every day she has to remind me that I am not married. Like, I kid you not, we will have dinner together and she will bring it up and like, I don't know who's more annoying, her or the aunties. So yeah, set some boundaries. If someone brings it up in a conversation, just like, don't be afraid to change the subject. You can even ask them, hey, I don't feel comfortable talking about this, so can we change the subject? Another thing you should do, especially if you're Muslim, definitely pray it out. The more you pray, the more at peace you're gonna feel. And also, like, the road ahead gets a lot more easier. And last but not least, my favorite one, if I tell you this, you're gonna think I'm crazy, but I'm gonna say it, stream Blackpink. Okay, you're gonna be fine. This is not a sponsored video, by the way, like, I really hope like YG Entertainment does not come for me right now for saying this, but I am dead serious. Like, go stream Blackpink, especially their new album. Pretty Savage is actually my favorite song off of the album. Like, that song makes me want to make men quiver with fear. You know, I remember I had a friend who was going through a really terrible breakup and she would not stop talking about her ex. So I told her, hey, listen, go stream Kill This Love by Blackpink, you'll be fine. This was at the time. So yeah, I told her that and she left me on red. But yeah, that is all the advice that I have, and I hope this was helpful in some way. I am not a professional. If you have a therapist, like, talk to them, or like even talk to your friends too. Just like talk to somebody. Like, when you talk to oh, that's another piece of advice. Talk to somebody. Wow. But yeah, talk to somebody about like what you're going through right now. And I find that like talking to my other single friends, it just makes me feel like I'm not alone in this, and it's reassuring. You know, it's like what I said in my first video, that I wanted to live my rom-com dreams, but that's not possible because every day feels like Groundhog Day. But honestly, it's okay. My life is like literally a comedy drama. But inshallah, like I figure out what I'm doing with my life, and honestly, in conclusion, being single is actually pretty great. I don't know how many times I have said single in this video. I said single like so many more times than I said mawwage. Hey, I said it. But yeah, I hope this video was helpful in some kind of way. I'm sure this is gonna be a really long video, but yeah, if you're single, let's talk in the comments below, or if you're not single, like, yeah, and let's destigmatize being single. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video and it was helpful, and y'all are staying safe. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is... And cut.